Up for day 2 of SEC Media Days Craze. I'm Atlanta News First Sports Director Bailey Burmaster. 16 teams over the 4-day event. Tuesday's teams have high expectations. Tennessee, Texas, and Georgia were the only teams in the SEC to make that first 12-team playoff. However, no one actually made it to that national championship game. The Longhorns still one of the new boys on the block and are trying to prove that it can consistently win the biggest games and maybe even win it all. Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs are defending SEC champs, but last season's expectations fell short. The days of dominating a Power 5 conference might be dwindling, but the Dogs are determined to show they're still the premier program in college football. And what a busy offseason for Tennessee. Spirits were high on Rocky Top after a playoff appearance, but a high-profile NIL dispute ended with a promising young quarterback playing for another team. There is plenty to get to with Tennessee, Auburn, and Texas, but let's start with the Dogs. The expectations are the same as always for the Georgia Bulldogs. Head coach Kirby Smart coming off winning his 3rd SEC title. However, this team no longer feels like it's head and shoulders above all the rest. Gunnar Stockton was thrust into chaos last season to start that Sugar Bowl, but now he's had the full offseason under center as the leader for this team. I was able to catch up with him and CJ Allen to discuss the expectations for the 2025 season. For starters, just how has the offseason been and getting back into the groove of things now that SEC Media Days is here?
It's been great. We've had a great offseason, just working hard, running hard, and just competing and just trying to get closer together.
For you, what was the biggest takeaway from last season, specifically that Sugar Bowl game against Notre Dame?
For one, I think it was just the experience, but we're excited for the season.
Where do you see yourself growing the most this season, especially as a leader on offense now that the role is yours?
I think just being, as the role, just being more vocal, and I think being more vocal has come with connecting with the guys and just knowing how everybody is, and that's helped a lot.
When you look at this team as a whole and going into this season, you could almost say Georgia's a little bit more of an underdog than they have been in the past because of the level of play in the SEC. How do you guys look at that, or do you feel like you're still top dog?
Yeah, we hadn't really paid attention to much. We know who we are, and we're excited for the season.
What are you most excited about to execute in this offense once season comes around? What are the things that fans can look forward to?
Yeah, I'm excited just for the first game, just run out there and just have fun and compete and just be able to have fun with the guys.
When you look at this receiver room, who are you most excited to get that ball to this season?
I don't know if there's one guy. Just there's a bunch of guys, like the new freshmen, new transfers, and the guys that have been there. We've had a great time this offseason coming together and throwing and getting to know each other.
What would you say are the fair expectations heading into the 2025 season?
I think expectations around Georgia are always to win every game and just compete. And I think for us is just to enjoy it while we're doing it.
Thank you, Gunnar.
Thank you.
What would you take away from last season with how things ended in the Sugar Bowl with that loss to Notre Dame?
I think just it ended. We can't do nothing about it. We can't bring nothing from the past right now. So I think we can just leave that in the past and move on from there.
How are you shouldering a new role going into the season? Michael Williams, Jalen Walker, Malachi Stark, some big names that were leaders on this team, and it seems like you might be one of those people who will step into that leadership role this season.
I think I'm just excited to go out there and play with my team, and just be with them. I think us as a team, we're not focused on one person, this guy, we lost this guy. So I think as a whole, we're just coming together.
When you look at your game, how have you done with, diagnosing snaps and pre-snap communication?
I think you always can get better with that, That just come with reps. You got to get reps. I don't think you can do it without reps. So I think just being able to get those reps day in and day out has kind of been huge.
What would you say about playing defense for Georgia and something that's, that's a hard thing to do and an expectation that's pretty high?
I think it just means something different, be able to scrap it up for the University of Georgia. I think as a whole, we kind of feel the same way, being here. It just says a lot. We're honored to be here, but, I think we just want to play that Georgia way.
What's going to be Kirby's message going into this 2025 season?
I think the biggest thing, just having fire, passion, and energy is something we want to have as a team. That's part of our DNA trait. So I think anytime, new season, that's kind of been the message, because it always fall back on our DNA traits.
What are your expectations for this team this season?
Obviously, we just want to just come in and just do our thing, and win. We're not focused on down the road. We just focus on working hard and just getting better day in, day out.
When you look at that schedule for this season, last year was not an easy schedule for Georgia, not that easy again this year, but what kind of challenge does that pose, and is that something you guys take on with pride?
No doubt. We definitely take it on with pride. I think when you sign up for the SEC, that's what you sign up for. You know what you come here, especially coming to a place like Georgia, that's what you sign up for. So I think a lot of us just excited for that.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you.
Smart is headed into his 10th year as head coach, and he's been very vocal about the changes in college athletics pertaining to NIL. I asked him if he had the same sentiments that Commissioner Greg Sankey had about college athletics not being broken, just strained. And he had an interesting response, saying he doesn't feel like it's broken or strained, just in flux.
It's definitely not broken. If it was broken, then people wouldn't be paying the dollars they're paying to be part of it and buy into the television and do the things they have to do. So it's definitely not broken. Strained, I might not agree with that. I might, say it's just in flux. It's in constant change, and who can change fastest? I'm very comfortable with where college football is. I'm excited about where it is.
Still ahead, two UTs take the podium, Tennessee and Texas, both making it into the playoff, but not getting to the end goal of that national championship game. Steve Sarkisian and Josh Heupel are on deck. Welcome back to your SEC Media Days Craze. It seems like a consensus around college football is that Texas is a top contender, not only in the SEC, but for a national title. No doubt that Coach Steve Sarkisian has this program in the right direction. After making it to the semifinal last year and falling, Texas still returns a very talented roster. However, they will have a new quarterback. Enter Arch Manning. But is he legit? This is his third year on campus, but his first year as QB1. Our correspondent Tyler Shaw has more on the team from Austin.
The Texas Longhorns have now been members of the Southeastern Conference for a year, and it's been a successful year for the team in Austin. They won the All-Sports Directors Cup based on how every team finished nationally. And in football, they made it to the College Football Playoff semifinals in the SEC title game. Commissioner Greg Sankey called this new 16-team league a super conference. Texas helps add to this with their natural rivalries with several SEC teams, including the renewal of the Lone Star Showdown with Texas A&M.
When we were talking about expansion, we have this slogan, it just means more, and people observe. As you look at institutions, we want those that meet the it just means more test, and I think that rivalry clearly does. It's historic. It will always be competitive. It will always mean something deeply for both sides. And I had 11 plus years living in the state of Texas. I know how important that game is across the entire state.
All eyes will be on Texas, led by quarterback Arch Manning, as the Longhorns look to bring home their first national title since 2005.
Offensively is probably where we've had the most turnover. We've got a new quarterback, Arch Manning, if you didn't know. He's replacing Quinn, who had a great 3 years for us, but we're replacing a lot of offensive linemen. We're replacing receivers, tight ends, but that unit is really good.
We kind of just focus on just keeping everything day by day. We're going through the summer workouts right now, so we're just going to focus on that. When we get to fall camp, we're going to focus on that. Then when we get to season prep, we're going to kind of focus on that. So we want to just take everything day by day and figure out things as they go. But we want to execute and do our job.
How are we going to handle success? And are we going to be complacent with that success, or are we going to raise the bar and raise the standard? And what I'm always trying to do is I'm trying to raise the standard and understand that there's a bar, and we got to reset that every single year to keep chasing greatness. Because at the end of the day, if you want your name to be remembered, you got to keep going and keep doing more.
I mean, it was a tough loss, but that was last season. We have a whole new team, so we just want to go out there and be 1-0 next year, and that's all we're going to focus on, just being 1-0, and then we're going to handle everything else when the time comes.
What I can tell you about the SEC is you have to be physically prepared every single game. Your body has to be prepared every single game, and there's no game where you can take it lightly.
But I think the key for us this fall is we got to go enjoy this journey. We need to be present. We need to be present in the moment, enjoy the journey, and then ultimately finish the mission. Right? We've been close. We've been there. We've been knocking on the door the last 2 years. But to go do that, we need to take it one step at a time as we embark on the summit that we're looking for. And that's going to take great discipline. It's going to take great commitment. It's going to take great toughness, mental and physical toughness that's needed. And it's going to take accountability for our actions and doing our job.
Texas will start its season out with a bang, a rematch of the Cotton Bowl against Ohio State at the Horseshoe on August 30th. Reporting in Atlanta, Tyler Shaw.
More to come on your SEC Media Days Craze. Tennessee taking to the podium after a turbulent offseason. Josh Heupel gearing up for his 5th season on Rocky Top. Welcome back to your SEC Media Days Craze, brought to you by Gray Media. I'm Bailey Burmaster. On Tuesday, all eyes were on Josh Heupel and Tennessee. The offseason was turbulent as they saw their quarterback in a financial dispute, and he ended up transferring to UCLA. Heupel made it clear in a very strong statement that no one player was bigger than the team. In 2025, they'll try to keep going with some familiar and new faces and prove that they're one of the top dogs in the SEC.
The biggest story for Tennessee, and possibly the biggest story in all of college football this spring, was the departure of quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Now it's Joey Aguilar's team as the Vols look to make back-to-back trips to the college football playoff.
Who's your starting quarterback?
Yeah, we'll find out. This week he was here with all of our guys, offensive linemen, taking them out to dinner, those types of things. Those are our little steps in developing a relationship with guys where you can eventually lead them, and certainly respect what Joey's done since he got here on campus.
Joey's one of those guys, it's kind of like when you meet, you meet somebody and immediately hit it off. You guys both have the same sense of humor, similar personalities. And it's kind of like you've known each other for a while.
On defense, Tennessee returns starters in defensive lineman Bryson Eason and linebacker Arion Carter for a defensive unit that ranked 7th nationally a year ago in points per game.
Well, I feel like we just bring back that grit, that relentless effort, that toughness, that original Tennessee culture that we've always had, and to restore that and bring that back to its full ability and full core and full tilt. It's a great thing to see, and we just want to continue that and exceed the expectations of what it is for next year and the years to come.
I think Arian is a great example of what we try to do with leadership, of identifying who guys are, but then also helping them grow throughout that through the off season and giving them the tools to become a great leader and how to impact and affect the guys around you. Nobody is more consistent in who he is as he comes into the building every single day. There's nobody putting in more extra work than he does. What I love about Arion is that he's got the ability to bring guys along with him.
No matter what goes on the offensive side, we got to have their back no matter what. So I think just inside the building on how it's a brotherhood, you know what I'm saying? You got to have your brother back no matter what. So I think that would kind of build it up into that thing to where we just have to, go all out on defense.
Start up 4 years ago or 5 years ago now. We never used that as an excuse. We didn't talk about it because we believe we had the things in there to grow and to win, and proud of what we've done. But, man, we're only going to continue to get better. I know that because of what we've done through a lot of adversity. And the guys that we have inside of that defensive unit room, talking about the players, are highly competitive. They have great physical traits. But there's an accountability factor to doing your job that's at a really high level. And we got great leadership. Tim Banks and our defensive staff have done a phenomenal job since we arrived. And I'm excited to go play with these guys on the defense side of the ball.
That new-look Tennessee offense with plenty of returning talent on the Vol defense will get its first test here in Atlanta, August 30th against Syracuse. For WVLT Sports, I'm John Sartori.
Whether they actually say it or not, Texas, Tennessee, and Georgia are ring chasing. It's a different story in Auburn. Coach Hugh Freeze has a new quarterback, and they're looking to turn things around for the Tigers.
Right now at Affordable Dentures and Implants, you'll save
Welcome back to your SEC Media Days Craze. I'm Bailey Burmaster. It's been a few unsettling years for the Auburn Tigers. Hugh Freeze was tasked with rebuilding the program, and he would be the first to tell you that expectations have not been met. Coach Freeze and the Tigers finished 5-7 in 2025. However, they're looking to turn that around with the acquisition of quarterback Jackson Arnold. They are hoping he can take this team to the next level. Let's tap in with our affiliates from Auburn.
5-7 just won't cut it for the Auburn football program, and rightfully so. Proud program, tradition-laden program down on the plains, aiming to return to the upper echelon of the Southeastern Conference. From 5 wins to an offseason full of talent across the board, including one Jackson Arnold, Eric Singleton Jr., and many others, Auburn are poised to reach unprecedented heights under Hugh Freeze.
For me, he showed me my fit in their offense, our offensive depth. Depth in the team in general, not just offense. They really prided on their defense, and housed a bunch of young guys last year, and all those guys are coming back this year. And I think that with the depth that we have and the coaches we have, and the scheme, the offensive scheme that fits me so well.
Head coach Hugh Freeze embracing all of the high expectations for the Tigers this season.
It's time for us to start climbing that mountain and winning some of those games. There's no reason, with the chemistry among our staff, the additions we've added to the roster, the 2 top 10 recruiting classes. Would you love to have one more year? Sure, but there is zero reason that our team, Lord willing, we stay healthy. We're expected to compete in every single football game.
Playmakers galore, including Eric Singleton Jr.
I just need help figuring out how to get them all the ball. That's going to be the biggest challenge, because they're all so dang talented, and they all have different skill sets and do things a little bit better. And if you're throwing an RPO to a one-on-one guy, you want Cam Coleman doing that, and you want Malcolm running this route, and Eric and Perry, and you add Horatio to it also, and it's a very talented room, and you got to figure out a way though to get certain guys the ball that can make plays with it, and you got some in that room, whether it's Malcolm and Eric in the run game or screen game or whatever you have, or whether we got to design a shot here. And obviously you design great shots if it's the right coverage.
The college football season gets underway week 1 for Auburn, and it's a tough one. They're making a trip to Waco, Texas for the first time, and they'll take on a rabid fan base and football team in the Baylor Bears August 29th.
The Auburn Tigers will look for star play out of Jackson Arnold, while 2 other teams who will need superior play from their quarterbacks, LSU and Texas. The Tigers have Garrett Nussmeier headed into his 2nd year, and he has high expectations. Texas finally gets to see Arch Manning full-time as QB1. Garland Gillen spoke to the 2 stars under center.
Arch Manning started all 4 seasons at Newman, but at Texas, he's only logged 2 starts. In 2025, he'll finally be the starting quarterback for the Longhorns.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about myself, picked up a lot from Quinn's game and just how he handled everything, whether it was the football side of it, the mental piece, the media, and just take bits and pieces and try to add to my game, and learned a lot over the last 2 years. I'm blessed I had that time to grow as a person and a player.
The expectations for Manning this season, sky high. Heisman Trophy favorite, national title talk in Austin.
Yeah, I'm just doing what I can to control what I can control. I'm not really worried about what other people think, just do my job, prepare, and when it's time to go play, I go play.
If he does need some advice or help with some film work, he has an arsenal of Mannings to lean on.
Anytime you can get guys that's been around football as much as my family to support me and be in my corner, it's a true blessing, and I'm just glad I get to have them. I'm excited for this year and to lean on them for all the advice I need.
For Garrett Nussmeier, things are quite different. The senior has 14 starts at LSU, though the expectations are also massive for Nussmeier and the Tigers.
It's definitely a different level of confidence, having a full season under my belt and having seen so much last year and gone through so many ups and downs. I had to learn how to get out of, slumps, and I had to learn how to continue to play good when I was playing good. And so that's all part of your first season. It's all learning moments and going through those, making mistakes. And, obviously, like I said, now having a full off season to be able to study those and try and get better at definitely creates a confidence. I watched some of the plays last year, and it makes me want to slam my head on a wall, like what was I doing? And so having that type of confidence of where I know that I'll be nothing like that in times, and so it's definitely been good.
Covering SEC Media Days, I'm Garland Gillen.
That will do it for day 2 of your SEC Media Days Craze. We have much more coming as we're only at the halfway point. Make sure to join us on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm Bailey Burmaster. We'll see you later.